Good morning, everyone. In the last lecture, we talked about utilitarians, right? Now, today our topic is Kantianism. Kantianism is basically a philosophical system. It was proposed by the German philosopher, that is Immanuel Kant. Okay, so Immanuel Kant, a famous ethicist, describes duty ethics as right actions are those required by a list of duties, such as be honest, keep your promises, don't inflict suffering on other people, be fair, show gratitude for kindness extended by others. John Rawls, leading ethicist, describes duty ethics as valid principles of duty are those that would be voluntarily agreed upon by rational persons in an imaginary contracting situation. All rational people will agree the situation to abide by two basic moral principles. First, each person is entitled to the most extensive amount of liberty compatible with equal amount for others. Second, differences in social power and economics benefits are justified only when they are likely to benefit everyone. Kantians believe human life is valuable because humans are the bearers of rational life. In other words, humans are free rational beings capable of rational behavior and should not be used purely for the enjoyment or happiness of another. तो इस थ्योरी के हिसाब से जो भी रूल्स होने चाहिए, जो भी आप ड्यूटी लिस्ट आप बनाते हो, तो वो सबके लिए बेनिफिशियल होने चाहिए. ओके. Kant treats happiness and morality as two disparate notions. He introduced the concept of a categorical imperative, irrespective of whether or not abiding by it directly increases happiness. The formulations of the categorical imperative provide us with laws by which to abide to maintain human freedom and autonomy through reasoning about one's duties to humankind, not what makes one happy. Kant calls his fundamental moral principle the categorical imperative. An imperative is just a command. Kantian ethics provide a human centric ethical framework, placing human existence and capacity at the center of a non creating philosophy that guides our understanding of moral conduct. Kant's work may be criticized for being dense and opaque, but his ultimate aim was practical philosophy that may lead to the creation of norms or rules capable of practical implementation. Can basic idea is something like this. If I say you can taste my wine, I should be able to taste yours. Moral actions are rational, immoral actions are irrational. तो बेसिक आइडिया जो है कैंट फिलोसॉफी का दैट इज टोटली ह्यूमन सेंट्रिक है. ये कहता है कि जो भी रूल्स गाइडलाइंस बननी चाहिए इट शुड बी बेनिफिशियल टू ऑल ह्यूमन बींग्स नॉट फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर पर्सन. ओके. तो अगर जैसे ये इसने एग्जांपल दिया इफ आई से यू कैन टेस्ट माय वाइन आई शुड बी एबल टू टेस्ट योर्स. अगर आप मेरी चीज यूज ले रहे हो मैं भी आपकी चीज यूज ले सकता हूँ, राइट. इन शॉर्ट वी एक्ट एथिकली इफ वी फ्रीली कन्फर्म आवर विल टू द मोरल लॉ which it understands as the categorical imperative. The imperative prescribes actions that are rationally consistent. If we act in this way, we may not be happy, but we will be moral. We will have done our duty. Example, first, theft by employees, managers, and customers is a major problem in business. Suppose that an employee angry at the boss for some justified reason considers stealing from the arm. Could a maxim which permitted stealing be universalized? It could not. Because goods and services are in limited supply and universal collective ownership is impossible, the institution of private property has developed. If a maxim that permitted stealing were universalized, there could be no private property. If everyone were free to take from everyone else, then nothing could be owned. Given the practical necessity of some form of private property, a universalized maxim that permitted stealing would be self-defeating. Thus, if the employee steals from the boss, the theft is not morally wrong. Now, what is the difference between Kantianism and utilitarianism? Kantianism is a method of deontological यानी कि एथिकल थ्योरी. इट इज अ मेथड ऑफ कॉन्सिक्वेशनलिटी. जो हमने लास्ट टाइम पढ़ा था कि कोई भी एक्ट होता है तो पर्टिकुलरली वो देखा जाता है कि इसका कॉन्सिक्वेंस क्या है, इसका कितना बेनिफिट आपको मिल रहा है. Kantianism, the motive is important and not the end result. Utilitarianism, the end justifies the means and actions are judged on the result, not on the intentions or motives. It is ethics of duty and it is the ethics of welfare. Kantianism believes that democracy overlooks the minorities and individuals. Utilitarianism, it is one of the building blocks of democratic system. Now the normative theory of business ethics. Three leading normative theories are there for business ethics. First is stockholder theory, second is stakeholder theory, and social contract theory. स्टॉक होल्डर थ्योरी जो है, it asserts that the investors in a business essentially run the show. They are advance capital to their managers who make decisions exclusively for the sake of acquiring further wealth. The stockholder theory admits to no social responsibility. Maximizing the return on investment is the only goal of the business. It supports a utilitarian theory that ensures optimal financial gain above all else. स्टॉक होल्डर थ्योरी जो है किसको सपोर्ट कर रही है? यूटिलिरियन को, कि जो बेनिफिट आउटकम पर फोकस करता है। ठीक है। Stakeholder theory, it suggests there are differences between the individual groups within an organization, such as the employees, investors, and suppliers. The stakeholder theory holds that a business should also take into consideration the needs and wants of its customers, suppliers, owners, and employees. Though the ultimate goal of this model is also to maximize the firm's financial success, the theory holds that the interest of the stockholders must sometimes be sacrificed in an effort to ensure a company's survival. With stakeholder theory, there is difference in the priorities for stakeholders, either internal or external. Internal stakeholders can include employees, investors, or owners. External stakeholders include those that are affected by a company's decisions, such as suppliers or creditors. So इसका मतलब ओवरऑल ये सब की चीजें, मतलब इंटरनल जो है वो एम्प्लॉयज, इन्वेस्टर, ओनर को देख रही है, स्टेक होल्डर क्रेडिटर्स को देख रही है, सप्लायर्स को देख रही है। The stakeholder theory is based on Immanuel Kant's philosophy that all people are to be treated with respect and consideration and allowed to participate by openly voicing their opinions as equal partners. यानी कि किसको फॉलो कर रहा है? कैंट्स फिलोसॉफी को, जहां पे जो भी आप काम कर रहे हो, जो भी रूल्स एक्ट आपका जो होना चाहिए, शुड बी बेनिफिशियल फॉर ऑल द ह्यूमन बीइंग, नॉट फॉर द पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट। ओके। So stakeholder theory asserts that managers have a duty to both the corporations, shareholders, and individuals and constituencies that contribute either voluntarily or involuntarily to wealth creating capacity and activities, and who are therefore its potential beneficiaries and or risk bearers. The fundamental distinction is that the stakeholder theory demands that interest of all stakeholders be considered even if it reduces company profitability. Next, social contract theory. It claims that all business should be dedicated to improving the interest of humanity as a whole by functioning in a manner that considers the well-being of consumers and employees, not just stockholders, but without violating any rules of integrity. अब ये पूरे ह्यूमैनिटी की बात करता है। अब जैसे हमने कहा कि जो स्टेक होल्डर था वो सब एम्प्लॉयज का, कस्टमर्स का, सबका देख रहा था। नाउ सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट थ्योरी इज फॉर ऑल ह्यूमैनिटी. Under this theory, a business must function with an obligation to social welfare and justice. Though the social contract theory is not considered an actual contract, it holds business ventures to very high standards by imposing significant social responsibilities. Okay, so these were the three theories of the business ethics. Stockholder, जो particular आप कह सकते हो कि एक पर्टिकुलर मैनेजर या उस तक की लिमिट आ जाती है, स्टेक होल्डर ओवरऑल देखता है, और सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ओवरऑल ह्यूमैनिटी की बात करता है। The last topic of this chapter is Indian ethical traditions. Indian ethics is one of the great traditions of moral thought in world philosophy, whose insights have influenced thinkers in early Greece, Europe, Asia, and the New World. Many Indian companies now have recognized the importance of integrity, transparency, and open communications. They believe that the goodwill resulting from adopting and successfully implementing a code of business ethics will, in the long run, translate into economic gains. Human values refer to the orientation towards what is considered desirable or preferable by people living in a society. Most companies started ethics programs to be compliant with the guidelines. Over the past 10 years, it has evolved from a reactive to a more proactive approach to corporate ethics. In the past year, with the recent failure of many global companies due in large part to ethics violations, it has become obvious that proactively managing corporate ethics is good business and directly affects the bottom line. Indian ethics will play a very central role in the development of culture of the country, in general, mainly focusing on village culture, like when the seasons of festival time, they should make different type of rangoli, dances, cockfights, paddy fields. Most wonderful thing is greenery. These all are to make our culture to be pride. Though the Gita is a part of the Mahabharata, it is considered to be the essence of the Upanishads, bringing out their moral philosophy and is venerated as a scripture along with the Vedas and the Upanishads. Because of its small size and simple language, many more Hindus know about the Gita than about Vedas and Upanishads. Okay, so ये हमारा इंडियन एथिकल ट्रेडिशन है जो आपने देखा होगा लास्ट काफी कंपनीज वगैरह जिन्होंने अनएथिकली जो है काम करने की कोशिश की, तो वो हमेशा लॉस में गई। तो उसको देखते हुए आप देखो कि सब जगह बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां कॉर्पोरेट फील्ड में भी जो है एथिकल प्रोग्राम रन किए जाते हैं। ओके। सो आज हमारा चैप्टर 1 जो है वो खत्म होता है, जहाँ हमने बात की हमारे एथिक्स की, मोरलिटी की। ठीक है। गीता की हमने बात करी यहाँ पर, जो यूनिवर्सली कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव और एवरलास्टिंग मैसेज जो है गीता का। ठीक है। गीता जो है विच कैन फेथफुली सर्व एज मोटिव टू मैन ऑफ मैनी सोसाइटी एंड एनी एज। जिसमें हमने देखा कि हम मतलब वो किस तरीके से एथिक्स को हम फॉलो कर रहे हैं, कितने लोग गीता को फॉलो कर रहे हैं, गीता पढ़ने लगे हैं, क्योंकि वो वेद महाभारत सब मतलब सब में आप देखो, रामायण वगैरह जो भी आप पढ़ते हो सब में एथिक्स की बात की जाती है, मोरल की बात की जाती है। ओके। तो आप देखो कि कुछ टाइम से जो है ये कल्चर हमारा इतना बढ़ गया, एथिकल प्रोग्राम इतने रन कराए जा रहे हैं। ओके। सो ये हमारा चैप्टर जो था आज का वो हमारा खत्म होता है। थैंक यू एवरीवन।